Alright, welcome to Kdenshot. I know some of you people are going, what are you talking about, Kdenshot? Okay, well, in today's exercise, we're going to get the best of both worlds. We are using OpenShot Video Editor, and we are using Kdenlive together, a match made in heaven. Now, for these exercises, you're going to need some software installed. To do 3D titling effects and SVG graphics effects, you're also going to need to have Blender 2.6 or better installed, and you will need Inkscape installed. Okay, and then of course you will need, of course, to have OpenShot, preferably the new 1.4.1, but if you have 1.4.0, that should work just fine. Also, you will need Kdenlive, because we're going to do most of our editing in this program. And all of the learning begins right now on Spadry's Cup of Linux. Okay, let's begin. I'm going to be editing this video as I'm making it. So I'm going to be cutting up clips and filming them and that sort of thing, and then I'm just going to be throwing them in on the timeline and that sort of thing as we go here. Alright, first, why don't we start with the beginning? Alright, so let's go ahead and minimize this application here. Excuse me. Alright, and we will grab OpenShot here. We want a nice little title we can work with. Now, there are a number of ways we can accomplish this. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. Alright, let's go Title and create a new title. And we can select any one of the titles that come preloaded with this. Let's go with Gold 1. That seems like a nice minimal title. We'll select Create New Title. We will name it. And we will name this Title 1. Alright. And I'm going to call this the best of both worlds. And maybe a capital B for best. And a capital W for worlds. That'd probably be a good thing we can do, and we can just go ahead and apply that. Alright, now, I really don't want the gold color. I want this to have a bluish color, because this needs to match my current titles that I have. So let's go ahead and open up the advanced editor, and Inkscape will go ahead and open. Okay, now, with Inkscape open, you will see that there is a box around the screen here. And this is a representation of the actual size of our screen. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and click on this text, and I'm going to change this color to a bluish color. And I don't know that I like that one, but maybe we can select a different one here. Okay, I like that color. Alright, now I can go ahead and close this panel, and now we can position this where we want this to appear on the screen. So let's go ahead and do that. Just drag this puppy down here. Now, since this is a video for the web, we don't really have to worry about the TV safe area. And the TV safe area would be about an inch all around the borders, where if this were to be viewed on a regular television, it would actually cut off some of the text and that sort of thing. But since this is for web delivery, we don't really need to worry about the TV safe area. Alright, I'm pleased with the placement of this, so we can go ahead and save that. Now that we've closed Inkscape, you can see the changes have taken effect on the screen, and we can press press apply. Now, why don't we have a nice, cool 3D title that we can make for our intro? So, what we're going to do is, now we're going to go into title and select new animated title. And this is the one that I've already pre-selected earlier. And this one is called the Zoom to Clapboard. And all I need to do is, all I just did was I just typed in a new title and I called that Cadence Shot. Once that is done, simply press render. It will generate 120 frames of animation, and based on the power of your processor, it can take anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 hours. So be prepared for the rendering to take a while. You can also move the slider to see how the presentation is going to appear as this is rendering out. I've already done the rendering beforehand. Okay, to speed things along, I have taken a few extra steps. You have all seen all of these steps that I have done in previous OpenShot video tutorials, so I didn't feel the necessity to go over this in great detail. Okay, on this line where you see my cursor moving is the title file name that we just rendered out in 3D. Because it has some transparency, in the layer beneath it you will see that I have a video background that I decided to add, and then of course our title that we created in Inkscape is here. I right clicked on the title, select properties, and then we went into video, fade in and fade out. We want that to be a 1 second fade in and 1 second fade out. So let's go ahead and adjust that to 1 second fade in, 1 second fade out, and apply it. And you will see as we do the sliding here, that's exactly what it's going to do. We can apply that now. Alright, now in the title sequence that we rendered out in 3D is in black and white. I wanted this to have a blue hue to it. So what I did was I right clicked on it and select properties, and then I went into effects, and this is the simple color adjustment. I adjusted the blue all the way up to 1 and brought the red and green down to 40. By default all of them were set at 50. By doing this I've given my scene a nice blue color, and then select apply. Finally, for the intro sequence, we just need to press the red Export Video button. I am selecting Web. Flickr High Def 720 pixels at 25 frames a second. And then High Quality. And then press the Export Video button. This is perfect for working with Kdenlive at the resolution that I normally broadcast on YouTube. Okay, next, let's go ahead and save this project because we may need to tweak this a little bit later on. I doubt I'm going to need to, but it's always good to have it backed up just in case. So I'll just select File and Save Project. Now that that is saved, we can go ahead and close OpenShot because we're not going to be using that for a while now. Alright, now let's go ahead and open up Kdenlive. And this bar none is my favorite precision video editor. You're going to see why here as we progress. Now, since I have not covered Kdenlive in previous episodes in as great detail as I probably could have, I'm going to take you through this a little bit better. Now, as you've seen in previous video editing episodes, when I open up a video editor, the very first thing that I do is save an empty project. So let's do that. File, Save As, and I'm going to call this one Cadence Shot. and save it. Now, when I initially configured my video editor, I had it set at the 720 pixel 25 frames per second. Okay, and you can actually manage your project profiles here. And this is the one I have selected. I am always using that as a default. Okay, now let's go ahead and pull in some footage, shall we? I'm going to add clip, and this is automatically going to the last folder that I worked in. And I'm going to go ahead and pull in my intro, my title. I'm going to pull in my ending, my intro music, my background music, and that should be sufficient for now. It does take a moment to generate previews for all of the files that you're working with. Okay, now let's go ahead and add some more clips, and I'm going to move to my working directory where these clips here are the actual files that I'm actually filming for this episode. So let's go ahead here and grab all of this footage. I'm going to select the first one, hold down Shift, and then select the last one. Whoops, didn't have the effect that I wanted. So I'll press down Control and click these things. And then we will open those up. And it will take a moment for it to generate all of those thumbnails and previews. And before I even start editing this stuff, I'm going to save the project. Invigorating, isn't it? You can make some clips in OpenShot, then pull them into Kdenlive, and then we can start playing with them and having all kinds of fun. Alright, so now, since we're obviously going to have a longer title, I'm going to need to do some sleight of hand trickery in order not to have a title that's so long that I'm going to be putting people to sleep here. Alright, so right now I've got 3 video tracks, and 2 audio tracks. That should be more than sufficient for today's exercise. Now, first, let's go ahead and grab my intro. And then I will grab my title. Now, you'll notice, unlike OpenShot, Kdenlive actually shows you the waveforms on these, which I think is really cool. This gives you the chance so that you have an idea of where to overlap video. And this is an excellent time saver rather than having to play the video pieces and that sort of thing. Now, obviously, I need to shorten these. So, I'm going to right click on this clip and I'm going to select Add Effect, Motion, and Speed. I'm going to speed this up to 200%. And I'm going to do the same thing with this clip. Add Effect. You can also do it here. Here's the effect list. Motion. Speed. Just double click it, and then we'll change that to 200%. Now, you will notice that there is no waveform visible on these clips anymore. This is because when you're speeding up a clip, it's going to cancel out the audio, unfortunately. But that's okay. Alright, because now we've got another little clip here, and this is the Kdenshot video that we made. And we're going to drag this onto the timeline as well. Unfortunately, it's not giving me... Oh, there it is. It is giving me a preview of it. So we can actually see how it appears on the screen. Okay, and that looks kind of cool. Alright, now that I have that nice little intro put together, I'm going to go ahead and use my normal intro music and slide that down here. Then I'm going to cut it to the size that I want. And I like the snapping feature on this. It's very nice. Okay, now that I know that I have that sized out perfectly, I can pull this down to the audio line. Now, to get the audio to fade out in Kdenlive, what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to have to grab the upper corner and I'm going to have to do a slight little drag. And you will see there is now, let me zoom in on this a little bit closer so you can see this. And please watch this in high definition so that you can actually see the previews a little bit better. But you will see here that now the audio is going to fade out at this point. Now something I'd like to bring to your attention is in Kdenlive you actually have a few different monitors that you can work with. Now I've got it set up to only where I've got a clip monitor which actually shows you a preview of the clip that you previously shot. I've got 2 video tracks, no 3 video tracks, and 2 audio tracks. That should be more than sufficient for today's. And then I have a project monitor, and this monitor shows exactly where the playhead is at a given time on the timeline here. Now the performance is choppy because I am doing screencasting at this time, but when I'm not screencasting, the playback is so smooth and crisp, unlike OpenShot where it's really choppy and hard to, work with. But that's okay. Alright, next, let's have some fun with the intro. So let me go ahead and pull that one. That one is called 0 MKV. I always number mine accordingly. And we will add this to the timeline. Now, you will notice if we zoom in really close here, and believe me, we can zoom in really close. This is where you get some really good precision, because you will see here, I'm not even zoomed all the way. This is 19 seconds, and this marker is 20 seconds, 21 seconds. So I mean, you can literally get this down to a 1/10 of a second and possibly even lower, which is really great. So you see where the audio here this is just the background noise and that sort of thing, and you can see where I start talking. So this is a good position right here for this to appear. So if I want this to transition from Kdenshot, all I have to do is just drag this down and it will automatically put a dissolve effect. Of course, I can choose a number of them, but the dissolve effect is my favorite. And you can see there is a huge selection of them, probably more so than OpenShot has to offer. The effects in this program are absolutely amazing. Okay, now we can even have more fun with this clip if we want to. First, let's zoom out. Okay, I think I can work with this. Now, we can right-click on this, or rather than right-clicking, we can go into our effect list and select audio. Now we have some choices that we can work with. We can do some delay and make it sound like I'm in the Grand Canyon. We can add some bass. We can add a flanging effect, which is kind of cool. Why don't we try that? So we will just add a flanger effect and let's preview it and see. Okay, well, in today's exercise, we're going to get the best of both worlds. That sounds cool. I realize the sound isn't coming in that well on the speakers, but this is pretty amazing. Okay, so I'll fly with that. I think that's kind of cool. And OpenShot just doesn't let you do those kind of things with the audio, or at least not that I'm aware of. Maybe they do have those effects and I just haven't explored that side of it. But the thing is, you have just so many effects, and not only that, you can stack effects on top of effects on top of effects on top of effects. Okay, So now, let's go ahead and add in another clip, and this one will be the title. You will see right here where the video goes silent, and I'll actually slide it over a little bit. You can see where the video goes quiet, where I'm done speaking, right after I say today on Spatry's Cup of Linux. Now we can go ahead and add our title sequence, and we will just drag that in right here. And then I can just put a transition to it. Okay, very nice. And if I want to check that, all I have to do is just position the timeline here, and we can play it.
Spatry's Cup of Linux.
Okay, and I like how that looks. That's a nice little, now, like I said, it's going to be choppy because I'm doing screencasting, but I like how that appears. So we'll go ahead and fly with that. Now, from time to time, as you're adding clips, you're going to need to save. If you don't save and the program crashes, well, you're going to have to do some work all over again, aren't you? No fun. Alright, so let's go ahead and save this. Okay, now, moving right along, we can go ahead and zoom in a little bit on this footage. We'll slide her on over here a little bit. And this is at the point of the scene where the cup has fully faded in, and now we want to go into our main part of the presentation. You will see here where the audio has completely faded out. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this over just a hair. And then I'll pull in my first video clip. And you will see it's a nice overlap, because I meant, you know, when I'm filming and doing my podcast, I mentally count 1 1000, 2 1000 in the top of my head, so, or at least a second or so that I know that I have enough leeway for when I'm putting in my footage here. Now, I don't actually use the clip monitor for trimming because I have this audio clip that I can physically see on the line. I know I can, you know, pretty much drag and, you know, slide my little clips to where I get that perfect dissolve. And did you notice as I moved that, the dissolve moved as well? See how that moved? Pretty neat, huh? So it does a wonderful job. Alright, and now I'll just go to the end of this clip, and you can see where I stopped talking at this point. Look, just looking at the waveform. So I'll leave a nice little gap here, and then I'll pull in number 2. Maybe I'll cut a little bit off the tip of it. I'll drag it over, and then I'll grab the corner and pull it down. And then there you go, a nice dissolve transition. Alright, and so what I'm going to go ahead and do is, I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to go through all of these clips and add them all to the timeline. Okay, now, I went ahead and I stitched together, showing you just dragging the corners to pull the transitions, and you will see how the timeline has progressed. Let's go ahead and we will zoom out now, and you will see that I have stitched together 9 different video clips. Now let's just assume this is the end of the video that we're going to make. And let's assume that clip 9 is the very end of the movie. Okay, well, you will notice in the videos there is some background noise, and you know, there are a number of things you can do to fix that problem. You can run a noise filter through the audio footage, but then the audio tends to sound like you're talking in a tin can. So the way I like to compensate for that in web video is I like to use background music. So let's go ahead and pull out a little clip here that I made using Band in the Box, which happens to be my favorite little audio program in Windows. I run it in a virtual machine, and it's a nice little program for making my background music quick and easy. And basically I just pick out the chords and that sort of thing, and it generates the musical score, and then I don't have to muck about with writing a score on the guitar myself and that sort of thing. I pretty much just pick out the chords and push the idiot button. It generates it for me. Okay, so I've got my music background, and this is a looping music background. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this onto the timeline. Clip 1 is the beginning of the presentation, and then we're going to drag this all the way through to the end sequence. Now my end sequence already has music assigned to it. So we're just going to make pretend here. This is the end sequence because I'm actually filming the end sequence right now. So what I will do is I will actually do a slight little overlap. Okay? And we're assuming that this is the end audio clip. So what I'm going to do is I am going to have this audio fade out by dragging the corner, and then I can do the same thing here by issuing a transition. And what that's going to do is it's going to fade the audio out from this clip into this clip, which is the end sequence. And then we will save our project. Now, we can go ahead, now that we've saved this, we can go ahead and close Kdenlive, now that I'm happy with the way my timeline looks. Alright, and we are now back in OpenShot again. Now, because I was screencasting, it would not allow me to import the file, so I had to do that while the screencaster was shut off. But all you simply do is you right-click, select Import Files, navigate to the folder where you saved your Kdenlive project, select it, and then press Add. Alright, and then it will appear here. All you have to do is drag that to your timeline, and then press the Export Video button. And this is the best format that I really like to use. Bar none. It's great for web delivery or even giving out to your friends, but you can make a DVD format if you want to burn this to a DVD disc or Blu-ray. You can even encode this for mobile devices such as Android and iPhone and tablets and whatever you want to use it for. But I use this format myself. Web, I select Flickr HD at 25 frames per second, 720 pixels. That is a wonderful high definition size and in quality high. And then all you do is press Export Video. I'm not going to export the video because I'm still making it while you're watching it. I think I broke the space-time continuum there on that one. Hey, Dave? But the reason this works is because the Kdenlive and OpenShot both use MLT, and basically these files are XML files that OpenShot can actually read and render out. So this is a wonderful thing. Okay, if you thought this tutorial was useful, please like and subscribe. Also, or comment and subscribe. I'm sorry, I took out the like feature. I don't think they fixed that yet. Also, Google+, Facebook, and Twitter, and I will keep you up to date every time I update a new video. Also, I'd like to welcome all of my new subscribers. If you have any questions or comments, put them down below. I'll try my best to answer them, and if I don't know the answer, I will try and point you in the right direction, or I'll ask somebody else if they can lend a hand and help me answer that for you. Alright, well that's all I have for now. Keep coming back. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.